Last week, I talked about a group of Christians that I call the Unchurched. While I know there are other definitions for the term, I see the group as people who are serious about God and their callings but somehow couldn't find a church to belong. They're not perfect and they're not always right, but they take their relationship with God seriously. And in that seriousness, they often get into all sorts of problems with their church and leaders, so they eventually drop out of church. In this season, I think it is really appropriate to talk about them, as most of us would have a glimpse of how the unchurched felt at some point in their unchurching journey. In this season of movement control order and conditional MCO, Christians cannot go to church and we are not allowed to gather. Even with the help of online conferencing softwares and apps like Zoom and Google Meet, we know it cannot replace face-to-face meetings and fellowships. We miss meeting our fellow brothers and sisters. We miss interacting with them. We wish we could go out and have tea with them. We miss having meals with them. Some of you who are into callings and ministries, you want to serve the Lord and the people He loves with your team. You want to talk about how to serve God and people better with like-minded brothers and sisters. You want to learn from them and to contribute in the ministries to the needy. But none of these is allowed to happen in this season. And even if there's a way to do all these, it's very complicated. Imagine that the unchurched people have been experiencing all these way before the MCO. They are not separated from the church because of anyone's order, but they are separated for many different reasons. It could be their own issues, sometimes their disappointment, it could be their conscience working in them. And sometimes it's really the church's problems. What is precious is that despite all the complications, there was still a point when the unchurched people still longed for fellowship. They wanted to contribute to God's kingdom through ministries, and they invested effort to belong to a Christian community. But things went wrong somewhere and they eventually dropped out of church. Now let's not talk about whose fault at this point, as it's too complicated to be addressed here in such a short video. Now that you somehow can relate to them because of the stay-at-home order, do care for them with an understanding heart. Don't approach them with a condemning attitude. Listen to their stories. Don't be too quick to give churchy solutions such as playing the Hebrews 10:25 trump card on them, as I described in my last video. We can learn a lot from Jesus in this aspect. Jesus demonstrated a lot of compassion to those who couldn't belong to the temple and synagogue communities in his time, and we should learn from him. But for now, remember that Jesus is the great shepherd that would leave 99 sheep in the fold to find the one sheep which is lost. May God help us all to be Christ-like in this season and beyond.